What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today on Madden 21, and it's another highly requested one. You guys have been asking me for a while to do an updated fantasy draft guide, and I was going to wait till after the February update, and then I was like, you know what? It's actually kind of long, and maybe I should even have waited this long, but as of right now, it is the 27th, late in 27th, so this should come up on the 28th, meaning that is when this will be the most accurate. I know the ratings don't change too much week to week, but we should, this should be pretty viable until hopefully February, pretty close to, and then we'll have our final one in February, which is usually when the final update of rosters comes out. Of course, if you don't know what a fantasy draft is, it's literally the whole league resets and you draft whoever. So if you want to know how to do one, you're like, okay, this is cool. Oh, sweet. Make sure you have a spot in, your roster slots. Now that failure is over, go to active roster. Of course, that's, you want to use this roster for the most accurate one. And if not, maybe look at the other video I had and choose that week. I don't know if you can go by weeks. I would imagine you can. Of course, it doesn't matter what team you choose, but I choose the Packers because I'm a Packers fan. To go to a fantasy, you click starting point, you go fantasy draft, and then one of the other things I would recommend you doing is turning off pre-existing injuries. I always turn off injuries as well, just for the hell of it. Then you go in. Now for this guide, normally you guys are used to me saying maybe 16 to 20. This time we're going for the long haul. We're going for like pick 28 to 30, but this player has kind of moved around for me. I'm just hoping he's there around 28. I think 28's a safe bet. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's a close call for the way I have this lined up, but I think we can get all the players we need with pick 28. So it may take you a couple of tries. Obviously, we're going to get it on the very first try. I'm not even worried about it. Damn it, we didn't. I will be back in millions of tries. All right, so I'm going to be super honest with you. This won't always happen, but we got pick 30, and my number one choice for this guide is Chase Young. So it might take a couple of tries. Depends on how dedicated you are for franchise. But I usually have Chase Young going about 28, 29, and sometimes even 31. And of course, you can see here, he is still here at 30. So I am going to take him, and hopefully my second round pick is there. Knowing my luck, yeah, Chase will be here. But then the next one, he'll be gone. Let's take a look. If he is, and he's not. He's actually still there. So, this, once again, it's not going to be an always cure-all position. So, I do have a little guide, like a spreadsheet thing. I can try to find something I could upload it on so you guys could take a look at it. But, basically, the story is, first pick goes Mahomes, as always. Lamar Jackson at 2, Ramsey at 3, Tre'Davious White at 4, Jair at 5, Myles Garrett at 6. Then you have Tyreek Hill at 9, Nick Bosa at 11, TJ Watt at 13, Danielle Hunter, that is, at 21. Josh Allen, the quarterback, who's actually really good on this roster now. Pretty damn fast. Superstar development, 99 throw power, is 27th pick. Young at 28. And then round 2, I have Marlon Humphrey. And then in the next pick, I have Kyler Murray, going at pick 5 in the second round. Sometimes he goes all the way up to 2. Sometimes he goes all the way back at 8. Of course, we're having a pretty good run here, so we will be taking Kyler. However, you do also have the option of Joe Burrow, who is and should be superstar development still. I mean, he's a bit more raw, but superstar you can never go wrong with. If you want to wait even longer, where is my guy here? Justin Herbert in the 5th round. We have Jordan Love in the 12th round, and then I think Hurts all the way at 20. There may be some other guys in between. Oh, yeah, we have Tua. Let me find him. Tua in the 7th round. So as far as value goes, looking at each quarterback, I would say the best value is obviously Kyler, and then Love in the round of 12. So as of right now, I think you got to go Kyler Murray, 23 years old, superstar development trade. I think he has quick draw and escape artist, very fast, obviously like a poor man's Lamar Jackson. So, of course, with our second round pick, we will be taking Kyler Murray. Now, I didn't think too much further than, like, the 5th round. So, this one I'm going to be winging it a little bit more than I'd like to, but let's get into it anyways. Once again, I hopefully have these this up on a spreadsheet of some sort for you guys. But, in case you went a different route, some of my other key players you could have went for. Round 2, pick 10, Fred Warner. Round 2, pick 12, Joe Burrow. Calvin Ridley at pick 13, Metcalf at 17, Chris Godwin at 22, Minkah Fitzpatrick at 26, Terry McLaurin at 27, Brian Burns, who would have been a really good choice, at 29, Budda Baker at 31, and then in the third round, Kenny Clark at pick 3, Denzel Ward, who obviously sucks to miss, at 11, Barnett at 15. Who the hell is... Oh, yeah, Shaquille Barrett, that's why I messed it up. Shaquille Barrett at 15. Quentin Nelson. I normally wouldn't go for lineman this high, but a guy with his development superstar, you can't get that up for lineman unless you're playing a league that you guys have some sort of dev up system or you're going to do it. Not a bad pick at pick 16 in the third round. Mekhi Becton at 19 in the third round. Not a bad choice either. Marshawn Lattimore at 20 in the third round. Josh Allen, the pass rusher, as you can see right here. I have him at 23, so you can see he drops, pretty far, which kind of makes me think maybe the other choice I would like. Pick 25 in the third round. CJ Henderson, cannot miss player if you have a chance. That is a very good selection. Round 3, pick 29, Shaquille Griffin. Now we're getting into our round. Or pick 5 in the fourth round, J.C. Jackson. Pick 8 is Justin Simmons. Pick 9 is CeeDee Lamb. 19 is Carlton Davis. Pick 20 is Okudah. 25 is Deion Jones. And then Herbert, like we said, in the fifth round. Now, with these choices, I will say, later on in the draft, it's a lot harder to get. Ooh, Darren Waller was there. I don't really like tight end this high. We usually go for someone like Noah Fant. But I will admit that the defense is a tougher position to go for. You can see things change there. You see Mekhi Becton went higher than Quentin, which just makes no sense at all in general. But the defense is the tougher thing to draft later on. So I try to limit wide receiver now. Before I always said corner or wide receiver in the first round, first 2 rounds. Is Jefferson... Ooh, I do not know the answer to this question. The fact that Jefferson goes so late, though, I don't think he's superstar. I think he's one of those guys that might have just missed. I would wait on wide receiver. Like, I'll tell you some of the names we have later. Chark in the 8th round. Jerry Jeudy in the 5th. I mean, that's kind of close to here, so that's not that big of a deal. McCole Hardman in round 13. Chenault in round 13. Marquise Brown in 11. You have Rager at 18. You have Juju late 5th. I mean, a lot of players across the board. So maybe debate taking someone like Justin Jefferson here. I don't know his dev, though, because if it's star only, I don't know if that's necessarily worth it. You can make that choice. For me, I think we got lucky. I'm going to be honest. I think we got lucky. Is JC still star? Yeah, I figure he was. But yeah, we got very lucky in this class. Like I said, it's going to vary no matter how many times. I did this 3 times, and this was my average. It's going to vary each draft. Like I said, 25 is where CJ Henderson went for me. I cannot miss on CJ Henderson here. This is an absolute steal. Unless they changed him, which his ratings don't seem to be that different, he should be superstar development trait. And then this is where I would maybe debate someone like Deion Jones or Roquan Smith. It's always so strange to me how the game decides where players go. Because like Roquan, round 5, pick 5, how is he behind Deion Jones? Like I don't get that at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. And if Justin Simmons was superstar still, I would 100% take him. And honestly, I'm going to double dip. I'm going to take Jeff Okudah as well. This is actually the guy I was going to take as my main choice, but in that round. But he, of course, CJ Henderson was there. So CJ Henderson, 25 in the third round, and then Okudah, 20th in the fourth round. Like I said, other choices, Deion Jones, early in the 5th, Roquan, Jerry Jeudy. So we're going to miss out on some of those guys, those wide receivers, which honestly, I'm not going to lie, I kind of overshadowed a little bit. We could get very lucky, though, with one of these players. I don't think we're going to get lucky, though. Let's take a look at who we got. Maybe Juju Smith-Schuster is there. Please tell me he is. He isn't. That's a little bit of a sell. We do have A.J. Brown, who's obviously not a bad choice himself. He kind of is like a Justin Jefferson, so I'm not even that mad. And I might actually debate taking him. Also, Mark Andrews would be gone around the early 6th. So, to mention some of the other names, because we're into a different round here. Ooh, what about Ruggs? Did Ruggs stay around? We have a lot of speedy players, so I don't really know if I want to go with Ruggs right now, because there's a lot of fast guys that I think you should definitely go for later. But yeah, 5th round, Justin Jefferson at 12, Jeudy at 11, Roquan at 5, like we said, Ruggs at 22, A.J. Brown at 27. So this is probably where we're going to take A.J. Brown. Bradley Chubb at 31 in the 5th round. Juju Smith-Schuster 32. Then we start in the 6th round. Andrews. 8th would be, pick 8 would be Dante Jackson. 9 would be Justin Reed. Jamel Dean at 11. And then pick 14, this is probably where we're going to take our next pick, Derek Brown, the DT, and then Simmons right, Vita and Simmons kind of near him. So I think with this one, I'm trying to look at some of the other wide receivers to make sure I'm not reaching here, because I do really like AJ, but man, I don't know. I think it really comes down to how much you want a wide receiver. It really comes down to how well you can make players good. Like if you're always taking like, 80 overall or like 60, 72 overall normals and you're turning them into gods, I wouldn't even worry about wide receiver at all, other than maybe like Metcalf early on in the draft. So right here, I would probably go back to defense. It's actually a tough one for me because Derek Brown, don't get me wrong, he is superstar, but yes, he's great, but Vita Vea, man. Like, he's already built up for the job. I actually have a tough time with this one. Derek Brown's supposed to go 14, Vita Vea at 17. I kind of want the game to choose for me, so I'm going to go with Mr. Isaiah Simmons, the ultimate user. Probably move him down to linebacker. Depends on what how this draft finishes. I got some other linebackers later, so Isaiah Simmons, still superstar development trade, still an absolute god. Like, that's just one player you do not want to miss. Obviously, if you're in a user league, I mentioned if you're in a user league, but honestly, if you're in a user league, this guy kind of doesn't matter. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, because in a user league, you're just not going to see these players go this late. Like, I'm assuming Simmons is going top 3 rounds. And honestly, I'd even debate going in the 1st round with him if I have, like, the late first. So, I mean, hell, I don't even know if he would be there at that point. Of course, both DTs are there just to make it even harder on me. This is a tough decision, man, because DT is one of the tougher positions to get the dev up for. It depends on your sliders as well, I suppose. If you're on, like, over 100, I would say Derek. If you're on low sliders, probably not. For my purposes, I probably would be on lower sliders, so Vita Vea may be the guy. I'm going to go with Vita Vea just because my sliders would be, like, lower if I was in a user league. If you're in, like, anything over 130, I'm taking Derek Brown. But if not, Vita Vea. So Vita Vea, 25 years old. You really can't go wrong with either one. It kind of also depends on how long you want to draft or have your players for. So you can kind of see why they go so similar, because they're very good players. Just the dev is that big of a difference. Of course, we have jumped quite a bit into the future. So the rest of that 6th round, we would have had Montez Sweat at 27. One that I am kind of mad we missed, but can't do it. You can't draft them all. Pick 32 in the 6th round for Devin White. Ali Marpet at 6 in the 7th round. Tua at 9 in the 7th round. Sean Murphy-Bunting at 11 in the 7th. 17 in the 7th round. Harold Landry. Deron Payne at 20 in the 7th. Tremaine Edmonds at 21 in the 7th. And then maybe still here, Antoine Winfield, the safety. Let's take a look if he is. He is still here, and this would be a guy I would definitely be thinking seriously about. And did we get lucky with this man? We did. So with my first choice here in the 7th round, I'm 100% taking DJ Chark. He's supposed to go pick 3 in the 8th round, 23 years old, absolute speed demon, and his injury's been boosted. So, he's a very good player to work with. And once again, super young, super tall. I mean, once again, we always say it, but basically the closest thing, well, I can't say the closest thing going to get to Moss, because DK Metcalf's kind of sick. Of course, I didn't, really sell out, but if you guys want to see a rebuild of this team, which we usually do, let me know by leaving a like. If we can get to 500 likes, whenever I see that hit 500 likes, we'll do a rebuild of it like that, like kind of schedule. I usually do rebuilds Thursdays and Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. So kind of that next Thursday or Saturday/Sunday, first time I see it go to 500 likes. And while you're there, maybe subscribe if you're new. Also, second channel, PK Plays. I'm trying to get that channel going. Twitter.com/JeromePK. I was going to say Twitter.tv, but that's Twitch. Everything's pretty much JeromePK, other than the second channel, PK Plays. Of course, we do see Winfield is gone, unfortunately, but I had to take Chark. Chark was just too good not to take. Now, this is a tough one for me, but I think we're going to go with Jeremy Chin, mainly because you could move him down to linebacker if you wanted to. Injury is a little low, which kind of sucks, but obviously you can get that up if you're a coach in your league. You can move him to linebacker. The reason why I say this is tough, because this is probably the first time we've had a a round conflict. And that's because the later portion of the 8th round, you do have Leighton Vander Esch at 19 in the 8th. I don't think that's worth it. I'd rather have Jeremy Chin and moving the linebacker, like I said. Snead, the cornerback from the Chiefs, 28 in the 8th round. We already have our corners. Hawkinson in round 9, pick 3. And then here's one I hate to miss, but Brandon Sheriff, pick 12, round 9. Kenneth Murray, pick 20, round 9. And then the big one, who could still be there if we're lucky, Mr. Devin Bush, round 9, pick 28. So we are going to be taking Mr. Jeremy Chin here. Could be playing linebacker for us. I think the more safeties we get, the more chances we do see one of those linebackers, one of those safeties moving to linebacker. Now here is the question: is Devin there? He is. Wow, that is, man. We're kind of nailing this draft here. Trying to just think ahead here, and I like the other players, but Devin Bush is my guy. Let's go for it. Devin Bush, you can't go wrong with that speed, man. You just can't. He's just so fast and beastly. I'm also trying to figure out how Kenneth Murray is still here. I'm actually going to take a look at the difference because Kenneth Murray is very good himself. Catching is 57. That is a tough one to deal with. 57 catching versus how much? So 63 is a lot higher. Hit power is a lot higher. Yeah, Devin Bush is definitely the better player. I forgot to get drafted last time. Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, I don't think so, buddy. Now, this is where I would think about my first lineman. I'm trying to think, though, because I know linemen, it is kind of tough to develop them, but there was a lot of linemen. The later portion of the draft is kind of where I take my linemen. Let me see. Where are the lineman picks? Round 11, pick 16, you have Linder, who I will admit is a bit on the older side. McCoy, pick 26 in the 13th, Wyatt Teller, round 14, one of my more favorite players of recent times. Ryan Kelly at round 12. Shaq Mason at 30 in the 14. Elton Jenkins at 14 and 20. Bradbury at 15. I mean, there's a lot of linemen. So at this pick, do we go through the later portions of the 10th? So we have Ragnar at 11 in the 10th. We have Darnell Savage at 15 in the 10th. Probably not worth it. Derek Nottie, if you want another DT, around pick 17 in the 10th. Jalen Johnson at 19 in the 10th. And then Ed Oliver at 21 in the 10th, which is kind of the guy I'm thinking about taking here. Eddie Oliver, huh? Let's take a look. Derek Nottie is actually a lot better than I was imagining him being. Hold up. He is 24. He's a bit on the older side. Very good block shedder, though. Yeah, not a bad choice, actually. This is tough because linemen are very important. That's the one position you do not want to lack on, but here we are kind of lacking on it. Frank Ragnar. DT is kind of easy to draft in drafts. We do have a lot of lineman selections later. I don't have a whole lot of DTs to work with. I got a lot of linemen later. I'm going to go with Mr. Ed Oliver. I'm going to make sure none of the other pass rushers are there. We may have, kind of sold on one of the pass rushers. All right, so this is a tough decision for me, but Ed Oliver has got to be the guy. And pretty much every time I would do these guides, it's always for a 4-3. I think it's just easier to draft for. Get your best value out of it. All right, so what did we potentially miss on? I did have Kinlaw around 13. Yeah, that's a bit of a sell. I ain't gonna lie. That's if I could go back, I would take Ragnar. I did not see Kinlaw on my list. But if you're smart enough to not take the player until after this point in the draft, or the video, yeah, maybe go for it. So, of course, if you had a pick in the 11th round that was earlier than this, Mike Hughes at 6, Patrick Queen at 10, Drew Lock at 11, Linder at 16, Jonathan Williams at 26, and then this is where we potentially take another wide receiver, Marquise Brown, if he's still there. Let's take a look if the speed demon is there. What overall is he? He's actually really high overall in this game for some reason. Like, he's good, don't get me wrong, but, like, is he that good, But, yeah, I'm gonna take Marquise Brown for our second wide receiver. Speed on speed. Glad we passed on AJ because we really did not need him. People are like, well, thanks for telling me that. And now, if you were the smart one of the bunch of us, you would have waited for Jordan Love. This is kind of where you want to take him. He goes at around pick 17 in the 12th round. So, yeah, definitely go for him now if you waited. Of course, Ronnie Harrison kind of built to maybe play safety. Pretty good, or linebacker could play safety if he had to, though. But this is kind of, for me, I don't like to draft two safeties. I like to keep one of the safeties kind of on the younger side and just develop them. I will say, though, this cycle is working out really well for me for my my O-lineman that I have coming up. Honestly, I don't really have a great player for this spot itself. I think I'm going to take... I think I might take Wyatt Teller here. I mean, I could go for another wide receiver, but honestly, I think I'm just going to wait for Jalen Reagor. I don't think Hardman's needed. We have already a bunch of burners anyways. So I'm going to take Wyatt Teller here, pick 25. So the early portion of the 12th round, like I said, you would have Ronnie Harrison at 3, Ryan Kelly at 8. He's 27, though, so it's what it is. Jordan Love at 17. Xavier McKinney, we could have went for the safety at 30. Mo Hurst at 2. Yatur Gross Matos at 4. Maybe I should have went for him. David Andrews at 10. Rapp at 12. Kinlaw at 15. McCole Hardman at 20 in the 13th round. 21 is Chenault. 26 is Eric McCoy. 28 is Fant. I may have sold. I will be honest. I may have sold. Yeah, I sold. I should have taken Fant. However, we have other options, and that's fine. Obviously, Fant is an absolute god, and it hurts to lose him, but you do have someone like Cole Kmet a little bit later who I would probably wait for. How good is he, actually? Ooh, a little lower than I thought. Cole Kmet a little lower than I thought. We might have to take someone like David Njoku, honestly. We might actually take David Njoku here. We kind of maybe sold. Once again, maybe skip a little bit ahead in the video, but I thought he was going to be there. I don't know why I thought we had pick something higher. I don't know why. And the worst part is Wyatt Teller probably would have been there. Wyatt Teller was like pick 3 in the 14th round. He could have been gone in fairness, but another mistake. Great. Love it. I mean, none of these things are going to go perfectly. You know, like I said, I don't know if you're going to be able to even get Chase Young and Murray with the picks that we just had. So I don't even know. But, you know, we got lucky at some positions, kind of sold at others. Fant was a huge miss. How close was he, actually? It had to be, like, really close. Oh, Fant was, like, gone. Where is he? Oh, damn, Fant went way higher in this one. We should have took him anyways, though. Yeah, Fant went, like, middle of this round. For me, he went, like, 28. But, of course, maybe McCoy is there. I doubt it, though. I think we already saw him. But Elton Jenkins is the next choice. We have him going a little bit higher. You know, 14, pick 20, and then Shaq Mason after. But Elton Jenkins, clear-cut, best player available right now. Building that lineup. Would that be our second player on the line, I believe? I want to do Shaq, and the way they have regression this year is actually pretty solid, but man, that age is just crushing my dreams. And this might be ooh, he's 25. Damn, some of these linemen are old as hell. Like, I've got better ones later than this. Makes no sense. Man, if only I would have been able to switch that Wyatt Teller and Noah Fant pick, it would have been such a game changer. So I would highly recommend you don't sell like I did and you end up getting Noah Fant, but since we did not, I think like we have no choice but to take Irv Smith here. This is a whole like almost 2 rounds, like a round and a half higher than he's supposed to go, but I honestly just have nobody there to take. And with Irv getting taken there, it'll free up more choices in the 16th round. Like I said, the round 15 is kind of like a big hole for me. A round where we just went, I would have had Shaq Mason at 30, but even though he's a good lineman, he's 27, so, your choice. Delpit, but once again, safety. Honestly, you make the argument that 72 overall hidden development Delpit is almost worse than like a 77 normal, because once again, if you get that dev up, which is very, very common for safeties, and it's super easy to get, you'll get maybe 5-10, maybe even if you're lucky, 20k XP, and he'll already be better anyways. And I guess it gives you something to try and develop. But after that, Garrett Bradbury, pick 4 in the 15th round, like we said. He's 25. I didn't think he was actually going to be that old. You could have went safety, Terrell Burgess, 21. Like I said, though, hidden development, but lower overall anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Rashawn Gary, I debated. He might even still be here at this point. He's not. I debated Rashawn Gary, but I was like, you know what? Even though he is super athletic, I think he could probably do better. I really do. I think he could do better. And then now we have Joe Thuney at 4 in the pick, 16th. Once again, 27. Brooks at 8. Someone I'm definitely debating because, we could use extra linebackers, but we do have those safeties. So, I don't know. Devin Bush with Simmons playing safe linebacker most likely. That's 2. You need 1 linebacker, 1 safety. I feel like we can hit that later. I really do. But this is kind of where I would probably be taking linemen. You have some really good choices. You have Lindstrom, who's obviously pretty young, 23 years old. Kind of built more for a center role, but he is fast enough to probably play guard as well. Then you have the ultra young James Daniels, 22 years old, definitely built to play center. What else do you have? You have Reisner at 23 in the 17th round, Andres Pete at 30 in the 17th round. So at this pick, I'm going to take Lindstrom for sure, and then the next pick might be a little bit more questionable. Lindstrom can definitely play anywhere on that interior spot, so more valuable than James Daniels in my opinion. Jordan Brooks goes, once again, not a bad choice, but I saw that catching a little bit low for my liking. The amount of linemen I have here is actually astronomical. I did mention earlier in the draft, though, that defense does dive down pretty quickly. You can see here, there's really not a whole lot of names here. Really across the board. Maybe Terrell Burgess is just somehow there still, which he's not. I mean, the defense is like just really bad, which is why I think, at least that was my plan, was to draft more defense than offense early. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of we literally 50-50. Damn it. Yeah, I mean, defense is definitely the one you want to draft the most because like it's so many linemen around here. And with that being said, I think I'm going to take Jonathan Abrams. Star development, high hit power. You can definitely make the debate once again to go for Terrell Edmonds instead. You know, yeah, I'm going to make the debate to go for Terrell Edmonds instead. Once again, development, it's a tough road. 91 hit power versus 87. A little bit faster for Abram, but I believe, yeah, Terrell Edmonds is a little bit taller. The coverage is a lot better. And then the big one catching, I believe, is how many points? 4 in difference? 5 in difference. What about block shedding? That's another tough one. 60 block shed versus Terrell's 64. I think Edmonds is just the better player, and it's going to take a long time to get that man in zone even close to Edmonds. The hit power is a little bit lower, but overall, I think Edmonds is the better player. And really, you're just hoping for a dev up, which, once again, if you get it early, would be a bonus on Abram, because that's, you know, a free XP boost. Now, pick 30, this is where you actually could go for, like, Kyle Juszczyk, and, you know, he's 29, superstar, lasts a long time. If you really like running the ball, he's actually a really good choice. I'll debate it. We'll come back to him in a little bit. We'll see what, you know, what's up. But this is also where I'd have a guy like, man, we have so many linemen here. Like, Reisner could still be there. I don't know if he would be, though. By the way, why do they have Michael Onwenu at normal development rate? That's so stupid. Now you have a choice between another lineman. I'd like to get one more here. You have a choice between Cesar Ruiz. They're all, like, kind of smaller guys, though. Cesar Ruiz, a little bit on the faster side, though. So 70 speed, 80 excel. Pretty damn good, actually, in the 70s for most blocking. Or the strength man himself, Mutai, 96 strength, but obviously a lot slower. Ooh, 73 injury. That may be a GG already. I'm going to go for Ruiz just on the injury alone. That is brutal. All right, so once again, we're kind of in that portion of the draft where it's like we're around early for everything, but you obviously want to make sure you get the guys. So this is kind of the running back round. I never go running back super high because, one, it's one of the easiest positions to get, and two, there's still really good players later on in the draft. The thing is, now you have a choice between like 4, maybe 5 guys. You know, Tony Pollard's on that list of players you could, you know, add to the conversation, but they pretty much all go around the same pick. But for me, this is a tough one. I'd probably lean towards Dobbins, though. I mean, I just think he's got it all. But Cam Akers, you can't ignore that acceleration and agility and all that. It's just you worry about that injury and whatnot a little bit. I really like Cam Akers. I don't know if you could pass on him. I mean, he looks really solid. That's stamina, though. 86 stamina versus J.K. Dobbins, what? 89. It's not much better. But I think I'm going to go Cam Akers just because our Rams League. You choose who you want. You can't really go wrong with the 2, maybe 3 choices if you put Taylor on the list. I think that's a great choice. Are they still there? We could actually probably take another one if we want. Swift is there. Yeah, nah, not today. And I think we're going to finish our offensive line with Titus Howard. Obviously, a little bit on the weaker side. Maybe you can replace him in the future, but another star development player. In that selection, though, you could have had Tavai at 30 at pick 19. Didn't really care for him. Duvernay, one of the last hidden development wide receivers, probably gone at this point. Now, he's still there somehow. He usually goes around 31 in pick 19. Don't get me wrong, he's not bad, right? He's got star and all that, but I just feel like you could easily do more with someone like KJ Hamler if you really had to. Obviously, injury, stamina, toughness a little low, but once again, wide receiver, running back, those are really easy positions to dev up. I'd rather just go with the guy that's better overall. And honestly, once again, the normal kinda is a bonus because you do usually get like 10 and even sometimes 20k XP for getting that dev up. Also, there's another guy you could have went for, Antonio Gibson, who's actually really, really solid, but only difference is stamina's really low, and then of course he is normal. You know, he goes around pick 5 in the 21st round. Now, for rebuilds purposes, I'm going to be taking Devin Duvernay, but if you're sitting here and you're like, you know what, he said Devin Duvernay goes right here, I either want Duvernay or Mims, I would 1000% be taking Mims here. Then again, I don't know his traits. I would maybe look up what traits they have, depending on who has better traits. That's probably who I go with. But for the rebuild, I want Duvernay. For actually using, I definitely want Mims or Hamler. Maybe not Hamler, but Mims for sure. But I'm going for Duvernay because we're going to be using this for a rebuild. But like I said, Mims, definitely the better choice there. Of course, I expected Tucker to be gone here. Maybe I accidentally messed up my list, but I had Justin Tucker at round 6, pick 6, round 21, and then Hecker really close behind. But there's a new sheriff in town, and that sheriff is Harrison Butker. I usually have him going around 15 in the 22nd round. I'm going to take Harrison Butker now, though. The new sheriff in town for kickers, and look at him with his hands, arms crossed. Something's crossed. And now this guy I have in the later part of the 22nd round, but I don't want to lose him because he's going to be gone. AJ Terrell. Notice it in Rebuild recently. Really solid player for later on in the draft. 75 man, 77 zone, 92 speed at 21 years old. Catching at 67 is definitely usable. Really solid player. I actually really like this guy. Going to be using him at our number 3 cornerback spot. And then here, we never got our full pass rush. This is where, I mean, I would probably go for someone new in the future, but this is a very solid pick. Jeromepkr, he is on the slower side, which is probably why he falls so far. 25 normal, yeah, it could be younger, but 85 power move. Very solid player. We're going to be taking him to play opposite side, Mr. Chase Young. And of course, we never finish on linebacker. You do have 3 choices. You have Blake Cashman, who's pretty damn fast, 24 years old. Catching is on the lacking side. I mean, I like the speed. You got Chris Barnes, who's 22 years old. What's the block shedding? 66 block shedding. Jumping's kind of rough. Catching's kind of rough. And then you, of course, have Malik Harrison, who I think is the best choice out of 3. 6'3", 22 years old. Not bad block shedding for out the gate. 84 speed, 87 excel. Gets the job done. Coverage is lacking a little bit. Ooh, 84 injury. What's the comparison between the other injury guys? Injury is kind of low for linebackers this year for the most part. Yeah, I think you got to go Malik Harrison to play one of the linebacker spots. Here's a random pick. Once again, we're kind of getting to the part of the draft where it's like, you know, take what you want. You're not really going to get much value out of it here. AJ Epinesa to play kind of a hybrid DT role. And then a super steal here, Clayvon Chason to play one of the backup roles of DN. Maybe you didn't like Jeromepkr. I don't know. And we didn't sell Mr. Patrick Richard / Ricard. Basically the best fullback you could ask for. And yeah, I'd still probably say Kyle Juszczyk because he is superstar. That lasts quite a bit. But one of the top tier picks here, Mr. Patrick Ricard. And you're still here. You're still drafting. You might as well reward yourself with some backup players. Maybe even use them for trade value if you really wanted to. But obviously, a very good backup. Well worthy of the selection. And pretty much at this point, you're just taking value players. There's no real like guide for now. You know, Troy Pride Jr., pretty damn fast. Good slot corner. You know, injury happens or, you know, you messed up along the line. You know, not everyone's going to have the perfect draft that's going to line up with ours. At this point, we don't have a punter. I believe J.K. Scott is the best punter available. 23 years old, star, 94-87. The other choice would probably be Mr. Braden Mann, who is slightly stronger, worse kick power, pretty much the same age. So I'm going to go with the overall on this one. Dixon, I believe, is like 25, right? 24. Oh, they're both pretty good, actually. 23, 24. I'd actually make the debate that Dixon would be better. 23, 24. They're about the same. I'm going to still go Scott, though. Go for the youth. Go for the awareness. Good for Sim. Speaking of slot corners, Mr. David Long from our Rams franchise. And then, of course, there's always still going to be those wide receivers, which is why I probably wouldn't go super high with wide receiver much. You know, Andy Isabella super fast. You got Paris Campbell super fast. I mean, you can pretty much just take them all back to back, and they'll probably still just be there. But yeah, the drafts definitely end a lot quicker than they used to. The AI drafts a lot better. They're getting better and better, boys, and it's scaring me. Xavier Woods, I mean, that's not a bad pick. Pretty good value pick. Maybe even put him in sub-linebacker at times if you want. You know, like I said, there's value picks all over the place. Zach Bond is not a bad one. You can always sort by speed, obviously. Mr. Javen White is not bad, 23 years old. Pretty damn good user. Of course, Davion Taylor, another one, 22 years old. Super fast. I mean, I'll take him just for the depth. But, I mean, look at the options. Like, you just have so many. Like, they're starting to go now, but, like Hamler was just there. You could go Quez Watkins, not a bad develop. Another steal, Julian Aquara, the rookie. Another kind of steal, Albert Akue-Bunam. Is that, I think that's how you say his name, right? Hell, you still have those wide receiving talents. Man, Mims is still there. He's still freaking there. Denzel Mims, welcome. I mean, if you're taking wide receiver in the top 15 rounds, it's got to be only one. It really has to be. And even though I said that, we took like 2. I think Marquise was kind of high. Yeah, I'd probably take Anthony McFarland and maybe Justice Hill if you have the chance. We didn't go for a backup, by the way. Take Justice Hill. Make sure we have our full lineup. I'm just going to start going speed round on these. We don't have a backup quarterback. There's got to be somebody here. Colt McCoy, could you imagine? Cole McDonald was one of our like cheese picks for rookie quarterbacks you could work with, or rookies, underrated sleeper rookies. You get yourself a Javelin Guidry missile system. Guidry. Okay. I actually really like these videos. I like doing these videos. The problem is I get so into them that like it takes me so long to record these. This took me over an hour to record, and that's like that doesn't obviously count the the pre-planning process of me like looking through each position to see like who goes when and where. I just get so into it. I'm just like, oh, gotta make sure you get the best value. It's like, relax, pal. Thanks, Jerome. Well, we appreciate your work. We'll like and subscribe. Oh, guys, you don't have to. It's just, I mean, it helps the channel, but you don't have to. Oh, you're gonna send mom's credit card? Oh, you don't. I mean, like maybe like some V-Bucks. I mean, what? That was obviously a joke. I'll take COD points. Isaiah Wilson, why not? 21, 6'6", 350. Holy crap. Greg Stroman, who I believe we have put at safety in the past, and he's worked out. Chris Westry, if you didn't know, there's a 6'4" corner in the league. I mean, I think there's a few actually, like 2 or 3, but yeah, do what you want. I mean, the guy's still there. He's a good value pick, right? Hidden development rookies. Can you really go wrong? Come on. Speaking of big boys, Calvin Taylor, 6'9". Absolutely useless here, but, that's pretty much the way the draft is. So we finally get done. We're at a 79 overall. We do have a lot of duplicate positions, so we'll put those guys into place. We'll see how our overall compares, and then obviously, if you've watched these videos before, or if you've played franchise before, you know that overall, it don't mean a whole lot. I'm just going to be honest. So it's really all about your potential, and pretty much every single position, starting position, I think, has a hidden or, star or better development, other than maybe like two or 3. But we'll get into that, and then we'll report back to you. All right, so we made an 80 overall roster on the fantasy draft, and once again, you got to remember, these are like some low overalls with high potential. And how on the O-line, we did wait for some of the later on picks, and we still ended up with a great one. Elton Jenkins slides over to left tackle. Maybe even could put him at right tackle, and then Wyatt Teller can maybe move over far left. Maybe that's something you do. Maybe that's something that actually makes a lot of sense. How athletic is Ruiz? He's decently athletic. Is Titus Howard? He's a big guy, right? 6'5". They're all kind of athletic. I think it makes sense. DJ Chark, of course, the number 1 wide receiver, 23. Super fast, super talented. 6'4", kind of our big man on campus. Marquise Brown, the speedy but kind of small wide receiver. And then Devin Duvernay, a mix of the both a little bit. Running back, Cam Akers, whatever running back you chose, can't go wrong with any of them. I'm going to put McFarland at number 2 because he's actually really elusive. Kyler Murray, 23 years old, superstar. You can't go much better than that. Quick draw and escape artist is filthy. Great fullback. Irv Smith, once again, I wish this was Fant, and it should have been Fant, but he's 22. He's good. He's got a lot of really good traits. Keep feet in bounds, possession, run after catch, fight, some really good stuff there. defensively, of course, we're not in a 4-3. It never gives us a 4-3. I get it because it's the Packers, but like just somehow read my mind, okay? Just do it. Let's go 4-3. Crap, I always do this. I usually go like, what is that called? I usually go like Cincinnati. It doesn't really matter, but Cincinnati's been decent for me in Sim, so I'm going to go with Cincinnati. Show you the defense. This is what our defense looks like. So Isaiah Simmons at the linebacker spot. I'd probably put him in middle if I was you guys, but I want him as the highest overall as possible. I'm going to put him there. Looking at Devin Bush, obviously a really good user anyways. And then Malik Harrison, debating on what's in the draft. Maybe you debate on, upgrading him, but he's a good player anyways. Jeremy Chin, you could have made the argument to move him to outside linebacker. Then you have 3 great ones. Put Woods at free. Edmonds, obviously a guy that he looks stoned out of his mind, but he's 23, lots of potential. And then corners, assuming we didn't sell, which would be really harsh for those guys to go that high if they're not superstar. Once again, 4th round pick for Okudah, late 3rd for Henderson. You can see there, superstar development trade for Okudah, and if Okudah's still superstar, I don't need to worry about Henderson. AJ Terrell, another youngster, playing the number 3 spot, really solid. I mean, you look at the difference between devs. Terrell went in round 20? Okudah and Henderson in the top 4 rounds just because of dev. And it makes sense because corner is the toughest position outside of maybe DT to get dev ups for. It really, corner, you never see them. And then if you do get them, your best bet is just to blitz all game. And, if you're in a realistic league or whatever, that's just not something you could do. Of course, D-line in general, though, Chase Young, our number 1 overall pick, a solid player there. Obviously, he is an X factor with ridiculously, look at the traits. Spin, swim, bowl, strip, high motor, big hitter, balance, penalty trait, solid player. Vita Vea, you could have went Derek Brown. Can't really blame you either way, but Vita Vea is obviously a day 1 god. Ed Oliver, really solid player. Maybe could have waited for Kinlaw. And then, this is probably one of the top guys you look to replace. But even then, he's going to be pretty good out the gate. 85 power move definitely doesn't hurt. And then special teams, you got the best combo in the league. Butker and Scott. I'm not saying these are the 2 best you can ever get, but obviously we drafted the best because we put them together. But Butker, definitely the best kicker you can get. I would say, in my opinion, he doesn't have clutch kicker or focus kicker. A clutch kicker is cheese. Not cheese. Focus kicker is cheese, but clutch kicker is what they give you. Let me go focus kicker because it's cheese. J.K. Scott, of course, star. There's a lot of different punters. Punters, you can definitely make a bigger argument of, but kicker, it's really just 2. It's Butker or Tucker, but because Butker's 4 years younger and they're both superstar, you might as well go for Mr. Harrison. But, of course, this is the updated fantasy draft guide for Madden 21's rosters as of, week 16, technically. So, hopefully this helps you out. Once again, hopefully I can find something to put this, list of players on. Once again, I did pretty much name out all of the players in general anyways while we were doing it. But, in case you wanted to see something a little bit more direct so you don't have to skip around or whatnot, I'll try to find a place. Let me know in the comment section below if you have maybe a suggestion where I could put it. There's got to be something like Google Documents or something. I've never used any of that, but maybe I'll learn. Regardless, once again, 500 likes and we will do a rebuild of this. I'm going to be honest, it's probably going to be a pretty quick rebuild, year 3 at most it'll take. Probably 7 and 9 first year, 11 and 5 the next, Super Bowl the 3rd. Because, of course, there's so much potential here. This is just high potential team. And, yeah, that is going to be the video. Actually, before we do that, let's compare how our team looks to the rest of the league. I'd say we're probably about 3 overalls lower than the rest. So 83 for the Panthers, Patriots. Yeah, 3 overalls seems to be the general. Of course, there are a couple 81s, 82s, but when you the Cardinals. When you compare, we'll look at the Cardinals roster and see how long that team is going to last just based on guesstimating the Jets. So Jets and Cardinals are the 2 highest teams at 85 overall. Let's compare and see what positions they have that we obviously we wouldn't have to worry about for a regression. So Brady, he's basically dead. Todd Gurley, he won't dev up. Julio is going to regress somewhat soon. I do like their wide receivers. I think they made a good choice there. Tight end solid. O-line, of course, regressing soon. He'll be gone in a year. Don't even have it done. Right guard's not going up. Jawan's not going up. Their whole O-line's not going up. Is he star? Yeah, Ogba. Not a bad choice. Not bad. Yatur. This is a guy we were thinking about going for. Very good selection there. DT, obviously, he's going to retire next season. Gallimore is normal dev, so their DTs suck. Linebacker, left out's terrible. Roquan's a good pick, though. Right out, I mean, actually, you're not going to do with anything with that. Ramsey's great. Verrett's not good. Normal for Gladney. Normal there. Trey, that's a regression. Kareem, that's a retirement. So, not a bad team, but in 2 years, when we're like an 87 or 88, they're probably going to be like an 82. And then looking at the Cardinals, let's take a look. But yeah, that Jets team was actually pretty well drafted, I ain't going to lie. Quarterback Baker, not a bad choice at all. Austin Eckler, not bad. Wide receivers, not bad, but they're not going to progress too much. Boyd, maybe. But Landry, I mean, 13K XP, that's just not good. Tight end, Dawson Knox is not bad, but they're not going to start him right away. Whitworth retires, so, that's a huge overall. 88 overall to 0 overall the next season because they're not going to have him. Norwell, he's not going to go up. Center, not bad pick, but he's not going to go up. Lyle Collins, not a bad pick. Left end is terrible. Right end is terrible. DT is not great. Left out's pretty solid. Center's terrible, or middle linebacker's terrible. Jalen Smith is really low overall now. I don't even know how the hell he has star still at 77 overall, but that's not going to go up too high. Corners, they have Greedy Williams, who's not bad, who we maybe could have went for, and then Jair's great. Devin McCourty's going to retire soon. Safety. So you compare the teams. Let me know who you want. Do you want their 85 overall retirement home, or do you want our 80 overall God Squad? Because, I mean, I don't know. It's a question mark, right? But anyways, like I said, that is going to be the video. We had another pretty good one. I think there was a couple of moves that could have made us even better. Instead of taking Wyatt Teller, if we would have we'd have taken Noah Fant when we took Teller, and then ended up taking Teller after that pick, it would have been a lot better. There was, I think, another one earlier in the draft. I can't remember. But overall, I had a blast. I think this was very, very successful, and I think this will help a lot of you guys out. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully you come back for next video. But until next video,